Hey, it's Romy. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope you're subscribed. If not, please do so you don't miss any notifications. Libra, this is your April 2020 reading. So if you're a sun, rising or moon in Libra, this is a general reading, but it might resonate for you. If you're enjoying my work and you'd like to support the channel, you can go ahead and purchase the extended reading, which is in the link in the description box below. You can find more details about how to work with me over on my website, which is romywiser.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I have a membership group over on Patreon, so please do come and connect with me and say hi. Okay, Libra, so April and Aries season, but we have a huge amount of air energy that I think is going to be incredibly supportive for you this month. Saturn has moved into Aquarius, fellow air sign. We also have Mars in Aquarius, and on the 3rd, Venus is moving into the sign of Gemini. We open up your reading with the Magician, and I think this mercurial energy is really going to suit you. We also have a full moon in your sign on the 7th, so I think for you, April is absolutely the time when you are having the opportunity to make the adjustments and really figure out what it is that you want. Many of you are likely to find yourself in really unusual circumstances based on the backdrop of events that's taking place right now, and in that space that you may well find yourself now, you have the time, you have the opportunity to reflect in different ways, to really evaluate what you have around you, what you're moving towards, and perhaps now looking at this as a time where you can perhaps change direction. Perhaps you can invite in some new energy, some different approaches. You know, the alchemy of that Magician card, I think, is really encouraging you to use this time through April to your advantage, in the sense of thinking outside of the lines, you know, being creative, being innovative, and taking that Aquarian energy, which is now in your 3rd house. And you know, before we dip back into the retrograde of Saturn and Capricorn, this is giving you a little bit of an insight on what you're going to be working over the next couple of years in terms of themes, Libra. So, you know, this is a time to start to think about the way that you're communicating, how you are using your ideas and setting out a new vision, a new store for yourself, the way that you are manifesting things into your life. And rest assured, you know, despite the chaos, despite the sanctions and restrictions that may prevail, this is also a time of tremendous opportunity for you, and you are being encouraged with that beautiful energy of the Magician to really take that chance, you know, to be bold and courageous in your own life, and to look at the energy that you're bringing to each and every situation, and making sure that, you know, it's coming from a place that can tap into your potential, so you can really step up and be your best self through this. Now, on the 4th, we have Jupiter and Pluto conjunction. This is the first of 3 taking place in 2020, the 2nd June 30th, and then again on November 12th. And this is in your 4th house. And, you know, there's a real awakening around the idea of 444 connected to this specific date. Very powerful, very intense, quite an ambitious energy that is affording you the opportunity to tap into a different type of energy, to awaken something within you. And your first 2 cards for me are also talking about the awakening of your own gifts. Like, what is it that you're tapping into from a creative perspective? You know, you're learning something new, but you're also opening up to that spiritual aspect of you, the evolution that's going to take place, the growth that's happening in this current energy cycle as we all ascend and move into this 5D energy. For you, Libra, I think is helping you to think very differently. Your perspective has changed hugely, and for many of you, I think some of those gifts are really coming to the surface, and you're going to be far more aware of your heightened sensitivity. Of course, in that, you need to be very mindful of where your energy is directed, not towards any fear-based or lower negative ways of thinking, but actually if you can keep focused with the energy of this Page of Cups and the Magician, I think you're absolutely poised to be able to unearth some jewels through this month of April that are going to be really supportive for you. And that full moon in your sign is going to deliver a real burst of power and energy to help you find some balance, to help you get some perspective on what perhaps needs to change within your life, notwithstanding what has already been kind of inflicted upon you from external situations. Okay, Knight of Cups, so we've got quite a lot of water energy also coming into your sign in this Aries season. Now remember, this is about 7th house and partnerships for you. So there could be some real shifts and changes taking place for key professional or personal relationships, but also with yourself. But most notably, what's coming up for me in the first part of this reading is just how creative this flow of energy is. So what is it that you want to explore, Libra? Where do you want to find solace? How can you soothe your soul through this incredibly challenging time right now? Is it in music? Is it art? Is it starting a new project or initiative? Is it returning to something that you haven't had the time or energy? How are you going to light up your soul? How are you going to connect into your true self? Because when you do that, then the mirror into the relationships around you is going to be illuminated, and it's going to help you to see people in a very different light. And there is certainly a lot of romance that's actually coming up in the first part of this reading. So I think for many, you might be kind of revisiting connections and just having time and space to really take something to the next level, or certainly exploring and reaching out to meet new people, outside of your normal kind of way of doing things. So you're exploring different ways to network, to connect, to communicate. But it's coming from a place that's really allowing you to, be yourself, and maybe some of the weight that may have been lifted following some of the events that are taking place is affording you the chance to kind of get back to realizing who you are, to get back to realizing how you've changed, and just giving a little bit more time or energy to what your immediate priorities are in terms of goals and dreams and the ambitions and who you want to spend time with and why. And I think that the emergence of this state of grace, this state of presence, these water signs are showing me that you're really in touch with your intuitive sense as to how you're feeling right now. I don't see you blocking anything. I see you being very open heart, open mind. Like I said, I think this air energy is being really helpful in unlocking something within you. Strength card, of course, invites us to have the courage to be bold if we look at it underneath that card of the Magician, but also the courage to be able to navigate through these circumstances, to be able to administer that level of self-healing, self-care and nurturing, within as well as to those around us that need us. But again, the infinity loop here coming through that's also shown in the card of the Magician, just reminding you that your source of strength through April is absolutely in your divine connection. It's in the awakening and the understanding of who you are as a soul being, of what you have available to you in terms of the charge of energy, to be able to sit in the power and receive that at any given moment, to know that you can connect into your guides, to your higher self, and know what the next logical step is. That creative vision or the ideas or the radical innovative solutions that are being placed in front of you on your path are there for a reason. You're meant to follow these signposts because they are going to illuminate where you're supposed to be and why. And as we move later through the month, the 11th, Mercury is going to be moving into the sign of Aries, which gives us that quick thinking, kind of impulsive energy, and I think maybe for some of you, you might be feeling the need to just particularly reach out or express how you feel to those you love or to those you care about. And maybe if there's been circumstances that have had you holding back, or you feel like someone's held back from you, I think this is the time when you're likely to see an opening up of communication in a really beautiful way in many regards that's going to be helpful for you. Okay, so Seven of Swords coming through, because undoubtedly what we're going to be also dealing with through this month of April is some fear-based energy, right? And maybe even some guilt. You know, this came up in one of the other readings, Libra, and I think it's important to acknowledge, because in times like this, when so many are suffering or being challenged in incredibly difficult ways, it can be hard to sit in a place of peace, a place of creativity, a place of appreciation that actually you have in some ways benefited from this, whether it be because you've got more time or energy, you've been able to get some clarity or some outside assistance or help. And, you know, to sit with that and feel like, who am I to be appreciative of that when there are other people out there on the front line, or, you know, that are not so lucky, or that are suffering, or, you know, in a place of disconnection right now. But the thing we have to remember is that by staying true to where we are on our own individual soul journey, by staying in our power, by being aligned and in a place of balance, your vibration will lift. When your vibration is lifted, then you will automatically receive more of those natural solutions that are going to enable you to be of service and to help other people. If you try to move down into that place of trying to identify with the pain of others, okay, or, you know, meet them in that moment to say, yes, I need to feel this same level of despair that you may be experiencing right now, you can't help them. You can't help them. So do not feel or take on that emotion of guilt. Do not allow that fear or toxic kind of undercurrent that is flowing very strongly around. You know, change the channel and step into that creative, powerful energy, and that is what is going to give you the strength, and under that full moon, to illuminate what you have to offer, what you have to deliver, how you can help. And it's coming from a place of, you know, connection and love and strength. So I just want to really kind of put a point on that, because for me that's absolutely what the Seven of Swords is bringing up for us here. Trust in yourself and how things are being presented to you this month. It might not make a lot of sense on the surface. You know, it might be going against the grain of the directions that you saw yourself moving in at this time, in this moment, but there is something to learn and there is something to gain. Ace of Cups, beautiful water energy coming through for you. And I think that, you know, you are being invited to have a reset, to have this moment where you can absolutely pour that energy and time into, you know, some level of nurturing and care towards yourself, and then your cup is going to be overflowing to help others. That's what's going to happen. I definitely think for some of you there is a blossoming and an improvement around some of the key relationships in your life. And also I think for many you're going to be beginning something that you've wanted to for a very long time, Libra. I think that this is going to afford you that chance to get going on a project, an initiative, perhaps a new business idea or a hobby, just something that really lifts you. And again, you know, your guides are so encouraging of that right now, because the best thing, the thing that we need more than anything, is for the overall collective energy to be in a place that feels peaceful, serene, optimistic, powerful, aligned, centered, grounded. So trust where they're leading you, even if it feels like it's away from where you expect or where you feel duty bound to be, because there's something that's going to come out of that that is going to enable you to be supportive and to give the purest and highest form of energy vibration when it's needed. Okay. Page of Swords, more air energy coming in. I really like this for you. I think it is an invitation to be curious, to be open. I think that the communication is going to be incredibly pivotal in terms of how you're expressing yourself. I see many of you writing. So writing in terms of, you know, ideas or journaling or your experiences, or writing to connect to others in the way that you can help them, or writing out new strategies, new business plans, new routines, new schedule. I don't know, there's that real focus on, you know, helping you kind of process perhaps a lot of the different types of energies that are swirling around, and also to get some of those ideas like tangibly down on paper or recorded or out there. Because, you know, sometimes when we're in that kind of magician energy, whether, you know, we receive it through meditation, or, you know, just when we're kind of in those day-to-day tasks, then it's sort of like they're dropping in like these celestial downloads. And if we're not kind of anchoring them, they can kind of feel quite fleeting, and then it's hard to get back into the same energy of it. So for me, the Page of Swords this month is also saying to you, when those downloads come through, when you're receiving that inspiration, make sure then you cultivate some time. You know, you have this beautiful container, get that sacred space where you can actually just note down. And even if it was an emotion or a feeling or a word or whatever the sign was, I think it's something about the expression and the written or the communication of it, you know, saying it out loud, you know, saying it into your voice recorder. That is going to help you just keep a track of kind of what's coming through, and it's going to help you to join the dots, right? It's going to help you to join the dots. Now with the Strength card, it may also be a Leo that you're dealing with, and again with all these water signs coming through, it could be a Cancerian, Scorpio or Pisces as well, that you know, are very important connections, or people that you are interested in understanding what's going to unfold this month. Again, Page of Swords is talking to me about, you know, healthy open lines of communication, a lot of messaging happening backwards and forwards. I think that you are invited to remain in that state of balance, not to take anything too personally. I think sometimes Page of Swords can be a little bit fractious, you know, saying things without thinking, being a little bit harsh. So whether that's you or somebody toward you, try to rise above that. You know, use that card of strength to go high if anybody else decides to go low. It's just not going to serve you. It's not in your best interest. There's too much good positive energy coming through for you, and you're going to need it. You know, we all are needing that extra supportive, protected kind of awareness of our own energy, where it's being drained, and how we can continuously clear out any of the stream of sort of fear-based negative kind of fear-mongering that's going on right now. It's so important. Okay, so 8 of Swords, 7 of Swords here. Again, I think it's just this stress-based state. This card's come up in quite a few of the readings this month, which is understandable. I think a lot of people feel very uncertain and unsure about what comes next, and if we're not careful, it can really lead us down the rabbit hole, so to speak, as to, you know, what might be transpiring or what's coming up. Just remember that that 8 of Swords is self-imposed, okay? You don't have to sit and stay in that energy. You do have a choice. And again, you know, if we look at this, the Page of Swords is turned in the opposite direction to this stress state, okay? So how can you move away from this? By communicating, expressing, learning, being curious, being open about what else you can direct your time and energy towards, or maybe even by journaling or processing, or somehow being able to talk. You know, our mental health is so important this month, and I think that 8 of Swords is coming up so much as a real note, and for everybody to be incredibly aware of how they're dealing with it, and the emotional tools that they can deploy, what they have learned, you know, going back to basics in many regards with their own spiritual practice, or any kind of physical, you know, way that they help to soothe themselves, you know. So make sure that you have a very firm idea for this upcoming month of April on how you're going to tackle those moments and days when you do feel a little bit out of kilter and a little bit out of whack, knowing that you can sit in that place and honor it, and understand that it still is a cycle, and it's going to move through, it's going to move forward. But for me, you know, the page energy is coming in. It's about the curiosity, it's about the openness, it's about trying to return almost in moments to that childlike state where we can just lose ourselves in things that light us up and not taking on the heaviness of the world. You have the Strength card here, which I think is because you are going to be that strength for others through this month of April, Libra. I think many of you are poised and ready to be the anchor, but it just means that you have to keep clearing out your energy really regularly, so you're not absorbing too much of what's going on with anybody else. Okay, card of Judgment coming through, and I think, you know, this is a season, this is a time when you are being given the opportunity for this beautiful rebirth, but I think right now there's also this awareness that there is an awful lot of agenda, there's an awful lot of polarized views, there's an awful lot of you know, very disconnected individuals who are choosing to focus in a very different way. As the sign of the zodiac that has the ability to be able to soothe, to calm, to bring peace to any situation, you are being invited, I feel, from a spiritual perspective, to be one of those energies that can hold the space so that people can process what is happening and try to find their own light through this. And you can only do that if you are very firmly anchored in your own light, okay? So you have a really important kind of mission, I feel, this month, to help to keep the peace by keeping peace within yourself. But Judgment is such a card of liberation and freedom, and I think we mustn't forget that this extraordinary time is also affording many of us this beautiful freedom to actually start to change our lives, to change the way that we live, the way that we talk, the way that we express ourselves, and to return to things that are so important and such a priority to us. And, you know, rest assured, there is something through this month of April for you, Libra, that you are absolutely falling back in love with, okay? So whether it's a person, whether it's yourself, whether it's an aspect of your life that you haven't been able to nurture, to enjoy, to cultivate in the same way, now you have that opportunity. Use it wisely, and it's going to help to transform your life. You know, it really is. Let's take a look and see what oracle cards are coming out to support your reading. Okay, this came up for another sign. All right, kindred spirits. I love this. Again, water coming through here. Almost this bridge over the troubled water, and you sit atop that bridge with all of the candles illuminated because you're keeping the fire burning for yourself and others. You're not alone because you're drawing your strength and guidance from spirit, okay? So you are being able to be that pillar of strength for other people because you're receiving it direct from source. So look at the abundance that surrounds her. This forest, this nature is where you will find that soothing, the solace that you need, the energy that you need. Just make sure you're constantly tapped in. She looks almost a little bit serene and maybe even slightly vulnerable in her state there, and it's okay, it's all right to feel vulnerable as you move through this month. You know, maybe not quite sure at times where you're being asked to be or how you're supposed to feel or what you're supposed to focus on, but the more that you can just tap into what that inner light is saying, to look around for the signs and the validation from your own guides, I feel that you will absolutely step by step be directed. And it is about being present. The more present you can feel, the more adjustments you can make to your course, and the easier you're going to be able to cope with anything that is happening in and around you. Remember, that alchemist, the magician energy, is a master of being able to adapt to any situation, to make the most of it and create gold from it, you know, create something incredibly beautiful out of it. So your astrological card, how beautiful, is the Sun in Libra. Okay, so just reminding you of your power and your presence in this moment, that you can experience harmony, that you can experience togetherness. The swans for me indicating the sense of grace, having integrity and holding yourself with a sense of real poise, even when things may feel very chaotic, even when people go low around you. Don't do it, Libra. Just focus on what is pure. Tap into that divine love. know that that radiance and that white light is here to protect, to heal, and to support you. And move into those creative ventures, music, love, romance. What can you fall back in love with in the month of April? That's what I would invite you to consider. You know, Venus in the sign of Gemini in your 9th house is about higher learning, expansion. It's about looking to the horizon, you know. That 9th house ruled by Sagittarius, it wants to give us that beautiful burst of optimism. And you get to feel optimistic. Don't feel guilty about where you're feeling really positive in moments through this month, because there's so much positivity to be celebrated in spite of what may be unfolding. Okay, I hope this has given you some insight for your month of April. I am going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards for the extended reading, and these are going to answer a specific question. So if you'd like to think about a question that you have that might not have been covered in the first spread, and just focus on that question now. Okay, these 2 cards we will use in the extended to answer that directly for you. And I'm now just going to go ahead and pull some clarifying cards. If you'd like to join me for the extended Libra, you can find the link in the description box below the reading, or head over to my website romywiser.com, and you'll find the link for all the YouTube readings over there. So the Magician is clarified by the full energy. Yeah, beautiful sense of optimism, curiosity, new adventures, a boldness, you know, needing to take a bit of a risk in terms of where your intuition is guiding you, you know. You're going to be offered some interesting opportunities. King of Pentacles with that Page of Cups. Perhaps there is an earth sign, a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. But this is also about your sense of security, I feel. We'll go into a bit more detail around this. 2 of Pentacles, okay. Knight of Cups is bringing the Page of Pentacles. You've got 3 pages so far in this reading, so lots of news, communication incoming that are going to help you and be very valuable to you. 4 of Cups with the Strength card. So 1 more for that. Okay, another Knight of Cups. So needing to be strong, particularly for this person, I think, or they're coming in to help to be strong for you. It might not even be a person. This could be very much representative of something you're incredibly passionate about. The roses here linking into your Sun and Libra card beautifully as well. Okay, 10 of Swords with the 7 of Swords. There is pain, okay? There is pain. We can't get away from that. What's happening right now is painful. People are experiencing enormous amounts of pain. And you may well be going through that as well, Libra. But there's also something on the other side of this that we can't ignore and that we must invite in. A radiance, a love, a kindness, and a level of peace. Eight of Swords again. Okay, Ace of Swords with Ace of Cups, lovely. And the King of Wands, okay. See you being very resourceful, you know, between that Magician, King of Wands coming through, very resourceful this month. You're going to make things work. Expect to see solutions come up. Expect to receive new ideas. Expect connections to come in just at the right time. Need you to keep your vibration really high. This is a wonderful month for manifesting. Knight of Pentacles. Judgment and the Hanged Man. Beautiful sense of surrendering, and in doing so having that beautiful spiritual evolution. The Chariot with Kindred Spirits, lovely. And the Knight of Wands with Sun and Libra. Okay, Libra, thank you for joining me. If this has resonated, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you'd like to join me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. Otherwise, I'm sending you bright blessings for this month of April. Stay safe. Much love. Bye-bye.